What is up, everybody? Back, not sponsored by them. What is up, everybody? Back once again with another video. And for those of you who have in my comments told me that I take too long to get to the content, that my videos are just way too long, well then these next 60 seconds are for you who always say that in my comments. So here is my 60-second breakdown for all you Instagram babies who don't have an attention span longer than 60 seconds. The balls are very similar, yet they are somewhat different. This basketball has a lot more cushioning. This ball is a lot softer. What that means is that when you're dribbling this basketball, it's going to feel better. But when you shoot this basketball, it's going to be more consistent. Are you going to notice differences when you're playing with it? Absolutely. You're going to feel like you can shoot anywhere, any kind of way, any way you catch it with this one. This one is more like a Wilson Evolution. It's going to take some time to get used to as far as shooting the ball, the rotation, just getting a good feel for it. But I love this basketball because no matter how I catch it, I will be able to shoot it and it will spin, rotate perfectly. This basketball spins and catches on the glass just a little bit. This basketball doesn't necessarily catch or spin on the basketball. If I had to give you an honest opinion on which one you should get, I don't know, just get one of them. You'll like it. And those are my 60 seconds. For those of you who want a more detailed review, stay tuned. Okay, so welcome back. Those of you who have a longer attention span than 60 seconds, I appreciate you tuning in. So, a little more detail into what it was that I was talking about earlier. A lot of analysts and NBA players have been complaining about the Wilson basketball in regards to the change from the Spalding. And to be quite honest, I didn't notice much of a difference until I spent 6 months with this I don't even know if I've had it for 6 months. However many months I've had this basketball, going from the Wilson back to the Spalding, you notice differences right away. Now, I'm not going to say that these differences necessarily merit all of the shooting struggles some of the players are having, but for those like Damian Lillard, I don't think he's complained about the basketball. Really, Paul George and maybe a few other players are the only ones who have openly said anything in regards to the change of the basketball. But what I can say, in experience of just playing with both of these basketballs just for a little bit, there is a difference. There is a difference. It's noticeable, and even though I thought it wouldn't cause much of an issue, I could see why the shooting percentages have gone down, and a lot of that has to do with mainly the trajectory of the basketball when you shoot it. Now, what I'm talking about, that's just really a fancy way of saying how the ball spins when you shoot it. I should have just said that in the beginning. But to get into more detail of what that actually means as far as application, when I shoot the Spalding basketball, it doesn't matter if I catch it hands on the laces. It doesn't matter if I catch it hands off the laces. It doesn't matter if I catch it hands in the middle of the panel. When I shoot this basketball, 9 times out of 10, it's going to send off, spin exactly the same every single time, no matter if I shoot it laces forward, laces sideways. The ball is going to spin evenly every single time. Now, why that is important for shooters, when you catch the ball, if you have to think about adjusting your hands or readjusting your hands on the catch, it's a millisecond needed, but that is a millisecond also needed for the defender to close out. So with this basketball, what I found is that actually you can pretty much catch this thing anyway and let it go, as long as you have a consistent shot. If you've kind of programmed your touch to where you don't have to catch it perfectly, you don't have to stand in the same spot, your arms and release are just kind of programmed perfectly to let that ball fly, this ball is going to be lights out for you. Shooting with this basketball is easy. Shooting with this basketball is fun, and honestly, it makes a different sound when it goes through the net than the Wilson does, which is actually interesting. This basketball, the Spalding, makes more of like a snap sound. it's really hard to describe, but what I can say is that Paul George made a comment about the Wilson not being as soft as the Spalding, and that sounds weird to some people, but I understood what he meant. And ultimately what that means is this basketball is going to hit the rim, it's going to bounce a few times, but it's not going to be that hard. It's going to bounce. The return on that impact is going to be soft, and every returning hit is going to be softer than the one before. As opposed to the Wilson, that first hit is going to be hard, and it most likely is going to send the basketball off in whatever direction the trajectory of the ball is going. Whereas with the Spalding, you have an opportunity for it to hit the rim, bounce, and you've got a little bit more of a generous bounce. You'll get more of a shooter's roll, what they call it, or a shooter's touch with the Spalding than you will with the Wilson right now, just because a lot of guys are trying to figure it out. And just touching the basketballs right now, like, there's a lot more give and bounce and return on the Spalding. I don't lose any air on it, but with the Wilson, it is stiff. Now, get that basketball out of here. Why I think the reason Wilson went with this basketball and kind of changed what Spalding was doing is that I personally have a hunch that Wilson has thoughtfully put, the progression of a high school athlete through college, through the NBA in mind. And I say that because you've got the Evo NXT. Now Wilson is releasing an NCAA Evo basketball, and now you've got the Wilson official NBA basketball. Now, my thought behind all of that is that Wilson is trying to make the transition from the high school to the NBA game almost seamless in regards to the size of the basketball, the paneling of the basketball, the movement, bounce, trajectory of the basketball. I could see how you go from the Evo. I've ordered the NCAA basketball, so I can't wait to do a review on that. I'll let you guys know how that is when it comes in. So the progression of that one to this one, my guess is that you go from a softer basketball to a lighter, softer basketball to the lightest, not soft version of the basketball. Either way, I think that Wilson is actively trying to make the transition as far as the product that you use in the game to be seamless for players, whether it be high school, college, or pros. The basketball you're going to be using is going to perform very similarly. Not exactly the same because the price points are different, but they're going to perform similarly. So once again, that is my quick review, an update of the Wilson versus the Spalding. I know a lot of you guys have been wondering about just the update on the Wilson. As you can see, it's turning brown. It's starting to turn. I'll probably put a little bit more work in on the Spalding just to help that ball turn darker, just to get a better feel. But ultimately, let me know what you guys think. Do you have both basketballs? Do you think that there's a huge difference or a small difference? And until another basketball comes in, another product shows up, or another person needs to work out, peace.